Samsung just had their Unpacked event, and while they talked about phones, they also talked about some new watches. Here we have the Galaxy Watch 9 and the new Galaxy Watch Ultra 2. One of the changes that they made under the hood is they've substituted Samsung's own chips with the Snapdragon Wear Elite chip. So that's something that may affect things like battery life or some of the usability, but we'll take a look into that later. Inside the boxes, we have the watch faces themselves. Also in the box, we have our Watch 9 strap in cream and our Ultra 2 strap in what looks to be a new olive color. It's worth mentioning that they do have a bunch of different styles of watch bands available for both watches. So you can have something that's like this soft touch rubber, or you can have something that's fabric, or with the Ultra, they even have an option that looks kind of like a leather. Speaking of the watch band, Samsung has this quick connect for the watch bands where you can just push the watch band in and that's all it takes to install it. While this is a super nice feature for convenience in installing the watch band, it does mean that you need to be buying a watch band that is compatible with that type of interface. It's also worth noting that the Watch 9 band versus the Ultra band is a different size. Samsung says that the fast charging should get you about 40% charge in the Ultra watch in 30 minutes or so. That should be enough to get you through an entire day. One more thing that was hiding in the box is a quick start guide. It's got a lot of pages, but it is all of the languages, so I guess that's okay. This is 11 pages of quick start guide, but I'm sure you can't tell by that. As nice as the Ultra 2 is, I think more people are going to be interested in buying the Watch 9. So let's start that one up and see what we can find out. To give us the smoothest experience possible, we've got a Samsung S25 Edge that we're going to use to set this watch up with. So it has started up, I've chosen my language and my country, and now I've got a prompt that says, check for a pairing pop-up on your Galaxy phone. If you don't see a pop-up, connect in Galaxy wearable or Bluetooth settings. So I'm not seeing a pop-up yet here. I'm kind of curious because I have a Galaxy phone as well if I've got a pop-up. Yeah, no, I've got the pop-up on my phone here. We'll go in through Bluetooth. There's our Galaxy watch, and we are greeted by a Galaxy wearable screen right away. The number on your watch, they match, so we're gonna confirm. Downloading software. Both being Samsung devices, it's kind of nice that they have taken the time to make the integration for this type of thing nice and clean, where it will go and download the necessary software on your phone for you, rather than you having to go and search through an app store. It's not a big step, but it is a step that's nice, and I appreciate them doing that. If you're not on a Samsung device though, it will probably have something where you need to download it manually. One thing that I hate is where they check off all of the optional things for you. The next screen that I'm presented with here is select apps for your watch. What it's doing is it's taking a look at some of the apps that you have installed on your phone already and seeing if there is a companion Wear OS app for it. Because the watch is running essentially a trimmed down version of Android, it has its own apps that you can install directly on there. Plus it's giving me some optional top picks for things like WhatsApp or like MyFitnessPal. There's a bunch of other things in here. I don't think I need any of those extra ones right now though. Asks you for which wrist you prefer wearing the watch on. Right now, because I'm wearing my typical watch, I'm going to just select right wrist and where the button orientation is. It's giving you a quick rundown of some of the capabilities of the watch now. If I wear the watch at night, oh, I'm running into a problem. No, I can't actually put this wristband on. On that note, I didn't talk about it earlier, but there is a small, medium, and large option for the wristbands. I'm not going to be able to put this one on, but I'll keep going with the setup with it off of my wrist for now. One of the features that the watch has is being able to give you some sleep score monitoring. So that's going to do things like look at your heart rate while you're sleeping and heart rate variability, and try and pull out some data on the quality of the sleep that you're getting. On the next screen, it's giving me a little bit more information on other metrics it can track, such as your BMI and exercises, as well as just kind of general heart health. Track daily cardio load, more heart. Get help in an emergency. This is a feature that they've integrated to be able to quickly and easily get an emergency call out.
I've fallen. fallen, and I can't get up.
All you have to do is hit the home button on your watch 5 times, and it will place an emergency call for you.
We're sending help immediately, Mrs. Fletcher.
Now that I've made it through the initial setup, it's giving me a prompt to do a quick tour of the watch. Starting with basic navigation, if we swipe down from the top, we can get a quick panel, like your settings panel from an Android phone. Swiping up from the bottom, we get the list of apps that Wear OS has. Swipe from the right side to the left, and you get tiles, which is used for quick information on general statistics. And swiping from the left side to the right, you can see your notifications. Not much has changed there since Samsung adopted Wear OS a number of years back. A few more things about the Watch 9. It does come in both a 40mm and 44mm casing, with the one that I have here being the 40mm. The 40mm variant has a 390 mAh battery, which is up from 325 mAh in the Watch 8. The 44mm gets you a bit more battery space at 445 mAh, but didn't grow as much, only jumping 10 mAh from the Watch 8. Both variants have an IP68 rating or waterproof rating to 5 atmospheres, which means this is a great device if you don't want to have to worry about taking it off in the shower or doing a bit of swimming with. Another nice thing about the Watch 9 is it does have the same sensor package as its bigger brother in the Watch Ultra 2. This means that you're not giving up on any of those health tracking metrics by getting the more affordable version. If you want to go without your phone for a while, it does have 32 gigabytes of onboard storage, and running out in the sunshine isn't a problem because the screen gets up to a very respectable 3000 nits. If you do need something with a bit more storage on it though, or 3000 nits isn't quite enough, the Watch Ultra 2 has you covered. We'll take a look more into that, but first a word from our sponsor.
InMo! Their Go 3 are AI-powered smart glasses that are here to make all your matrixiest dreams come true. With the ability to translate almost 100 different languages in real time, a built-in teleprompter feature, as well as map navigation that offers turn-by-turn instructions. You're going to feel like you downloaded the universe into your brain. They're also lightweight and stylish. I can only show you the link. You're the one that has to click it, Neo. Check out the InMo Go 3 in the description below.
As I mentioned before, the Watch Ultra 2 comes with more storage space, so instead of 32 gigabytes, you get a full 64 gigabytes of onboard memory on here, and the screen goes up to an eye-searingly 5000 nits peak brightness. The battery in the Watch Ultra 2 has also been expanded. The last generation had 590 mAh, whereas this one has 800 mAh. As I mentioned before as well, it has fast charging, getting you 40% in roughly 30 minutes. The Watch Ultra 2 also comes with some stronger water resistance ratings, where it is good to 10 atmospheres of pressure or an IP69K rating. They have also put it through a diving rating of EN 13319, so that it's good for dives up to 40 meters of depth. The sensors on the watch can give you the depth of your dive as well as the temperature of the water around you. One of the other key differences between the Watch 9 and the Ultra 2 is the composition of the body. On the Watch 9, we have an aluminum body, which is nice that it is metal, but aluminum is much, much softer than the titanium that you get for the Watch Ultra 2's body. Both of them, however, come with sapphire glass displays, which is a really nice feature to see, especially coming to the more affordable option. It means that it's much less susceptible to the types of scratches that you'd expect to get on a watch when you're walking past door handles or anything that might accidentally nick it. Looking at the two models side by side again, there are a couple of different options for the bezel colors. The Ultra 2 you can get in titanium gray and titanium silver, whereas the Watch 9 you can get in graphite or cream. Realistically, the cream is just a more silvery color, and the graphite being a more black color. In case you're wondering which colors we have, our Watch 9 is in the cream, and our Ultra 2 is in the silver. While the Watch 9 looks very similar to the Watch 8 that it followed, the Ultra 2 has a slightly different bezel design versus the Ultra. You can see that the Ultra 2 has these number marks, whereas the Ultra has the hash marks in place of the numbers with kind of an orange highlighting on this model. Now that we've taken a look at both watches, let's take a look at the pricing. The Watch 9 did get a bump up of $30 on the 40mm and 44mm, where the 40mm is $379 and the 44mm is $409 US. The Samsung Watch Ultra 2 also did get a bump, going from $649 on the Ultra to $699 on the Ultra 2. That being said, both of these kind of fall within the same range of what you'd expect to pay for an Apple Watch, which is the type of device that these are really being put up against. While there's not much that has happened on the software side between the last model and this model, there is a bunch under the hood that's changed. Seeing a bigger battery is always a big plus for myself. I am a big proponent of longer battery life, and while this doesn't quite match what I would get personally for a device, it does give those who would use a device like this that much more battery life. Thanks for watching Short Circuit. I hope you enjoyed this coverage of the Samsung watches, and if you're looking for some coverage on other devices from Samsung Unpacked, we've got coverage of their foldable phones also on the channel.